Hey there. Hey there. Ever wondered how to give your photos that ethereal glow that everyone is doing right now? It's possible they're using a bloom filter or bringing the photo into Photoshop to add that little extra editing flair. But guess what, guys? It's your lucky day because I'm going to show you how to achieve this effect entirely in Lightroom. And as our editing beast today, we'll be rocking the Summit E16 Flip Evo by MSI, and they are kindly sponsoring today's video. So before we get into any editing, let's quickly review the specs of this laptop. This is the Summit E16 Flip Evo. It's got the latest 13th Gen Intel Core i7 processor, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 40 series graphics, and 360-degree flip design. I'm constantly editing on the go, whether it's in a coffee shop in Costa Rica or even just my couch downstairs. With this laptop, I have the high performance that I can count on no matter where I am. And a quick moment for the design. This laptop provides high performance and reliable design like honestly never before, and I really mean reliable. This thing has military grade durability for vibration, shock, lower high pressure, and higher low temperature. It has an 11-hour battery life, so you can operate for longer at peak productivity. It only takes about 53 minutes to charge up to 60%, and even if you've only got 15 minutes, that'll buy you over an hour and a half. As you can see, it has a 360-degree flip. It also has a Quad HD Plus touchscreen display, say that 10 times fast, and it also supports MSI Pen, which is really great when I'm editing, and you will see that in a second. And clearly MSI takes their security very seriously because this right here is one of my favorite features. It has wake on approach and walk away lock. So if you need to walk away from your Summit E16 Flip Evo, it will first dim the screen and sleep down, or shut down to save your battery and lock. It'll then seamlessly wake once you're back and near your laptop. So this is great if you're a business professional or really any serial multitasking human. So thank you MSI for sponsoring today's video. If you guys want to check out the Summit E16 Flip Evo, there is a link in my description to do that. But for the moment, let's check out how to achieve this glowy effect in Lightroom. Now there are a couple of different ways you can achieve this effect, and I'm going to show you that by going through a few different photos and how I use a few different sliders, masks, and effects to achieve a glowy look. The first one we're going to talk about is clarity. I know when this slider or this feature first came out, everyone was pushing the clarity to the right. Everyone wanted more clarity, more sharpness, more contrast, and there is a time and place for that effect, but when it comes to portraits, and at least my style of photography lately, I like reducing the clarity. So as you can see, I have already edited this photo. I've added one of my Lightroom presets already, done a little bit of tweaking here and there, but I'm saving the fun stuff for you guys. Let's go through how we're going to make this photo glow, how we're going to smooth out Lauren's skin, and overall just make like a smoother looking portrait. What I like to do is hold the clarity to the left, and I usually keep this around a -20 mark. A lot of other photographers say that this is the max that they go. Depending on the photo, I think I have actually gone as far as -35, which is considerable. It does start to make the photo look a little bit soft, but I just want to show you exactly what this is doing to the photo. So if I crank the clarity all the way to the left at -100, you can see exactly how glowy Lauren is getting. Very glowy, too glowy. So if we split the difference, we're at about -53 right now. She's still quite glowy. I mean, you're definitely getting the effect here, but she's a little too soft. So I'm going to bring it back somewhere around, say -26 looks good. So that's with no clarity applied, and this is at -26. And now this has already actually done some retouching for you. Now it's pretty easy if you want to go through with your healing brush and just get rid of any tiny imperfections. It's a lot easier for you now because her skin tone has actually been evened out even more. So let's take this one step further. Say you've reduced a lot of the clarity here. You're at -35. What we're gonna do is actually scroll down to the sharpening panel down here. Let's zoom in to this beautiful 16-inch QHD Plus display here with a 16:10 ratio. And if that ratio sounds familiar to you, it's because it's the golden ratio. What I like to do here is bring back a little bit of that sharpness without totally getting rid of that nice softness we've added with the clarity. So I like looking at these sliders as like a nice little step ladder. So I like keeping them in a diagonal personally. And my favorite thing to add is just a little bit of masking. So what the masking slider does is it actually just refines the edges of where that clarity is being applied. If you hold down Alt and start sliding, you'll see those edges come into view and you can see exactly what areas are being left sharp and the other areas that are being left with that beautiful glowy effect. And sometimes I just like to zoom out again to make sure I haven't kind of overdone it. And there's before and after. So we've pulled up our second photo here. We took this downtown a couple of weeks ago. What makes photos like these great, in my opinion, is when you completely blow out the sky and make it look super glowy, a little foggy, a little misty, but still warm and sunny, kind of like that early morning glow, even though this was definitely not early morning, it was much later in the day. So I'm gonna show you how I achieve that. What I like to do is go over here and I mask out the background. I want to leave me being the subject in the image nice and sharp, nice in the foreground, and make it look like the background or the sky is what's all misty, not me. How do you do that? By using the power of AI in Lightroom to already select everything in the background for me, which it has done, which is fantastic. I didn't have to go in with the brush tool like I used to and color everything in. Now I can actually apply specifically this glowy effect to the background. So my favorite tool to do this, and I mean, like we just talked about, you can reduce the clarity here, but what I find does an even better job, and what I find is the most underutilized slider in Lightroom, is Dehaze. And I think a lot of people think that this is a tool you have to actually use in order to dehaze something. And yeah, that is one way to use it, but you can also use it to add haze. So you can either tick show overlay on or off, or you could just hit O and that's your shortcut to see exactly what's being masked. So I'll just bring dehaze back to 0 so you can see this effect get to its fullest potential. And you just start dragging that to the left and you'll see, obviously this is way too glowy. We're just gonna add a little bit of glow here, around like 19. Something else that Dehaze does is it actually makes things look a little brighter. Sometimes I'll compensate for that by bringing down the exposure a little bit. So you still get that glow, it's just not blowing out the background. If you guys wanna see what this photo looked like before I actually edited it at all, this is the before. You can see it's dark, very sharp. And this is the glowier version where we've lifted the shadows and we've added a preset to get these beautiful warm colors from my preset packs. And then we've worked with the dehaze to add that little bit of glow. Et voila. For this next photo, I'm going to show you a different way that you can select the brighter areas in the image that you want to add a glow to. And this photo is a perfect example because there are pretty contrasting highlights and shadows. And that's kind of the beauty of this photo, which is why also the edit, as you can see, is in black and white. There really isn't any light happening in this room. The lights were completely off. We're going with 100% natural light, and I'm shooting into the light in order to get a bit of a silhouette. And I was thinking about doing this while shooting, add a glow from the window. It's not like the other effects we talked about earlier in the video don't apply. You could still do this with clarity. You could still do this with a little bit of masking, and you could still do this with dehaze. But this is just another way of adding a more precise mask and gives you a bit more control over the areas you're adding this effect. So what we're gonna do is, yet again, we're gonna make a mask. Scroll down here until you see range, and then you're going to select luminance range. Now, if this was a color photo and you only want to add a glow on certain colors in the image, you could also select color range. That's another cool mask you get to add. But for this particular photo, we're gonna go after the luminance. Now this little dropper tool comes up, and as you kind of scroll around here, you can select what part of the image you want to add your glow or adjust the luminance. We're gonna select the brighter part of the image. So as you can see, the the show overlay box is ticked so we can see exactly where this mask is occurring. And again, if you hit O, you can turn that off. But for right now, because I want to show you this area over here, we're going to leave it on. Now, if you want to refine your selection even further, this box over here tells you the selected luminance range. So you can actually drag that if you want to select more of a certain area, but I'm going to leave it kind of how it was. And then these triangles over here actually control the fall off of the mask. So I want this to appear really natural. And part of that is going to be achieved by having this glow from the window still appear kind of a bit on the ceiling and a little bit on the wall, but not so much that it's like the entire image. We're just trying to add glow where the glow would naturally appear. Here's the cool part. The luminance range mask goes actually beyond selecting the bright areas. It also takes into account similar tones, including the subtle light that may be reflecting on surfaces like the bed over here. And this means that the tool is essentially intelligently selecting and feathering all of those harmonious tones. So it gives your photo an extra touch of depth and realism. So now that we're happy with our selection here, we're just gonna scroll down and we're gonna mess with the clarity like we did before. Let's take that to like -20. I like bringing the texture up a tiny bit, and let's dehaze. And here is a quick before and after. As I mentioned earlier, the Summit E16 Flip Evo has a 360-degree hinge. So I can flip this completely over, and you'll know why in a second. This can become a tablet, right? Cool. It also comes with this pen. But for right now, here's what we're gonna do so that you guys can keep watching. Well, this is nice. I feel like a real artist now. Something that's really cool when the laptop is in this position is you can go into tablet mode, and it essentially makes the photo you're editing full screen. It gives you all of your sliders and all of your editing tools available at the bottom. But for this right now, because this is what I'm the most used to, and this gives me my side panel and allows me to show you what I'm about to show you. For this particular photo, where I want to add the glow is through this skylight. Usually I'll do something like this with a linear gradient, or in this case, a radial gradient, because of just the shape that I want the overall glow to have. So let's go over again, and we're gonna add a mask. I'm gonna select radial gradient, and then we can literally just draw one. I'm gonna pull it in the directions I want it to show up. And now, once again, we're gonna go down to dehaze, and we're gonna dehaze the crap out of it to add a nice glow. We're gonna reduce the clarity. You know the drill at this point in the video. And I actually think I want this mask even wider. Yeah, that looks pretty sweet. And I'm gonna reduce the exposure a tiny bit. I definitely prefer using the pen over the trackpad. It's just a little more precise. And now let's say I wanted the mask to actually extend down even further over top of my head a little bit, but I still wanted the subject of the image or my head to remain sharp. So in that case, all I'm gonna do is click the mask I want to adjust. I'm gonna hit subtract, and I'm gonna select brush. And now this is essentially going to allow me to like color out the areas of the mask that I don't want to include in it. So I can really just go over my head. So you can adjust the parameters of the brush up here, the size, feather, flow, density. For this, it's working perfectly fine for me. And if you want, you can actually go into these layers and you can make two brushes, one add and one subtract, and you could just rename them accordingly. Now I'm just having fun. Ta-da! Look at that. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. Let's toggle off show overlay, and that's our final photo. And here's the before and after. Please don't judge me that the photo was originally crooked. I did not take it. But it sure turned out nice, didn't it? Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I enjoyed it. I have wanted to do a little tutorial talking about this for quite some time now because it's something I do on literally all my photos. And now you know pretty much every way that you can use masks in order to perfectly add this glow to your photos. And now you know exactly the different sliders I'm using to achieve it as well. Big thank you to MSI for sponsoring today's video. And if there are any other effects you would like to learn how to achieve in Lightroom, please leave it in the comments below. And if you'd like to check out the Summit E16 Flip Evo, there is also a link in my description box below. So like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you're not already, and hit the notification bell to get notified for all future videos. It really does help support this channel, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers. My coffee's done. I need another one.